The house creaks with every gust of wind outside, like it's whispering secrets from the past. I'm sitting here in my old armchair, the one with the faded plaid pattern that's seen better days, just like me. My name's Jack Harlan, and I'm 88 years old now. Born in a small town in Oklahoma, served in the Korean War back in '52, came home with a Purple Heart and a limp that never quite went away. Worked as a mechanic for 40 years, fixing engines and lives along the way. Raised 3 kids with my late wife, Betty. She passed 7 years ago from cancer. God, I miss her laugh. The kids are scattered now, one in California, one in New York, and the youngest right here in Texas. But even he's got his own family pulling him in every direction. They call on Sundays, send cards on holidays, but the days in between, it's just me, the ticking clock, and the ghosts of what used to be. I've got this old radio on the side table, tuned to a station that plays the hits from the 50s and 60s. Elvis, Johnny Cash, music that takes me back to when life felt like an open road. But lately, I've been thinking a lot about the road behind me and the short stretch ahead. You see, retirement isn't what they sell you in those glossy brochures. No, sir. They talk about pensions, golf courses, cruises to the Bahamas. But at 88, I've learned the hard way that retirement after 80 is a whole different beast. It's not about the money you've socked away or the handicap on your swing. It's about the battles you fight inside, the ones no one prepares you for. If you're watching this, maybe you're 50, punching the clock and dreaming of that golden parachute, or maybe you're my age, nodding along because you've lived it. Hit that like button and subscribe. I'm no tech whiz. My grandson set this up for me. But I figure if I can share what I wish I'd known at 50, maybe it'll save someone a few regrets. Let's dive in. I'll tell you 5 harsh realities about retirement after 80. These aren't the sanitized versions you hear from financial planners or those upbeat senior living ads. These are raw, from the trenches, with stories from my buddies who've walked the same path. And trust me, some of us made it through stronger, while others, well, they just faded away. First reality, retirement savings mean little without social networks. Oh, they hammer it into you. Save 10% of your paycheck, invest in stocks, build that nest egg. I did all that. Worked overtime, skipped vacations, put away every dime I could. By the time I hung up my tools at 65, I had a decent pot, enough to buy this little ranch house outside Austin, pay the bills, even help the kids with their mortgages. But here's the kicker. Money doesn't talk back to you at night. It doesn't laugh at your jokes or share a beer on the porch. Let me tell you about my old war buddy, Earl. He's 86 now, lives down in Miami. Earl was always the saver, pinched pennies like they were gold. Retired with a fortune, over $1 million last I heard. Invested smart, no debts. His doctor says he's fit as a fiddle, runs 3 miles a day, eats organic, gets those annual checkups. But when I called him last month, his voice was hollow. "Jack," he said, "I got all this money, but no one to spend it with." His wife died young, kids moved away for jobs. He tried the senior clubs, but they felt phony. Now he sits in his condo overlooking the ocean, scrolling through investment apps, wondering why the waves sound so lonely. Contrast that with Tommy, another vet from our unit, up in Seattle. Tommy's 85 and his body's a wreck. Bad knees from the war, diabetes, takes a dozen pills a day. His savings? Barely enough to scrape by after a bad investment in the 90s. But Tommy's thriving. Why? Because he built networks that money can't buy. Volunteers at the VA hospital twice a week, mentoring young vets coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq. He's got a group of guys, we call them the Old Guard, who meet every Friday for poker and stories. His daughter lives nearby, but it's not just family, it's the community he nurtured. Last time we talked, he was laughing about a fishing trip they planned. "Jack, the fish don't bite, but the stories do," he said. "Tommy's got purpose woven into his days, threads of connection that keep him anchored." I learned this the hard way. After Betty passed, I leaned on my savings like a crutch, thought a new truck or a fancy TV would fill the void. It didn't. What pulled me through was joining a local veterans group. We swap tales, help each other with errands. It's not glamorous, but it's real. So if you're 50, start building those bridges now. Join a club, volunteer, make friends outside work. Because at 80, your bank account won't hold your hand when the nights get long. Second reality, the danger of over-relying on adult children for emotional support. Lord, this one's tough. We raise them, sacrifice for them, watch them fly the nest. And deep down, we hope they'll circle back, be our rock in old age. But life's not a Hallmark card. Kids have jobs, mortgages, their own kids pulling at them. Expecting them to fill your emotional tank? That's a recipe for heartbreak. Take my friend Hank, 84, still in Denver where he settled after the war. Hank poured everything into his family, worked 2 jobs to put his 4 kids through college, retired modest but proud. When his wife passed, he moved closer to his eldest son, figuring family would be his lifeline. But the son's busy, CEO of some tech firm, travels constantly. The grandkids are in sports and school. Hank gets a visit every other weekend, a phone call midweek. "They love me, Jack," he told me over coffee last year, but his eyes said otherwise. He's depressed now, health slipping. Doctors say it's the isolation, not the arthritis. Now, look at my pal Gus in Phoenix. Gus is 87, body's falling apart, heart issues, needs a walker. Savings are thin after medical bills, but Gus never banked on his kids for happiness. He has 2 daughters, both out west, but he built his own world, takes woodworking classes at the community center, turns out beautiful birdhouses he sells at farmers markets, mentors at-risk youth through a local program. His kids visit when they can, but Gus doesn't wait on them. "They're my legacy, not my life support," he says. Last Christmas, he hosted a potluck for his woodworking buddies. Laughter filled the house like it hadn't in years. Me? I fell into the trap early on. After Betty, I called the kids too much, guilting them into visits. It strained things. Now I cherish the time we have, but I fill my days myself. Garden a bit, tinker in the garage, volunteer at the local shelter. If you're watching and you're 60, diversify your emotional investments. Nurture friendships, hobbies, causes. Your kids will thank you, and so will you. Third reality, pursuing passions beats endless doctor visits every time. They tell you retirement's about health, screenings, meds, and diets. And sure, take care of yourself. But at 88, I've seen folks chase perfect health like it's the holy grail, only to miss the life right in front of them. Remember Earl in Miami? All those runs and vitamins, but no spark? He's at the doctor weekly, tweaking this, monitoring that. Meanwhile, his passions gather dust. Used to love sailing, but too risky now, Doc says. Tommy in Seattle? He's the opposite. Sure, he sees his doctors, manages his conditions, but he doesn't let them rule. His passion's fishing. Been doing it since he was a boy. Bad knees? He uses a stool. Diabetes? Packs smart snacks. Last summer, he caught a 20-pound salmon, grinning like a kid. Docs fix the body, Jack, but passions fix the soul, he told me. I got back into mechanics in a small way. Fix up old cars for neighbors, teach the grandkids about engines over video calls. It's not about the work, it's the joy. Skipped a few checkups? Maybe, but I'm alive, not just existing. If you're 70, find what lights you up. Painting, gardening, writing, chase that, not just lab results. It'll keep you going longer than any pill. Fourth reality, the freedom in saying no to family dramas. At our age, family's everything and nothing. We've spent decades mediating, sacrificing, keeping peace, but retirement's your time to step back. Hank in Denver? He's drowning in family squabbles. Siblings arguing over inheritance, grandkids' custody battles. He jumps in every time, exhausting himself. Can't say no, Jack, they need me. Gus, he mastered the art of no. When his daughters feud, he listens but doesn't fix. Love you both, but that's your rodeo. Freed up energy for his woodworking. Happier for it. I said no to hosting Thanksgiving last year. Too much hassle. Kids were miffed, but I spent the day with vets, sharing turkey and tales. Best holiday in years. Say no without guilt. You've earned it. Fifth reality. Listening to your gut on end-of-life decisions. Doctors mean well, but they're not in your boots. At 88, aggressive treatments can rob more than they give. Earl chased every test, every procedure. A minor heart blip led to surgery. Now he's weaker, regrets it. Tommy trusted his gut. Doc pushed a knee replacement. Tommy said no. Managed with therapy. Still fishing. I turned down chemo for a spot they found. Felt fine. Quality over quantity. Still here. No regrets. Trust yourself. You've lived this long for a reason. Now, let's talk about expanding on that first reality a bit more, because it's the foundation. When I was 50, I was all about the grind. Korea had taught me discipline. Wake at dawn, follow orders, survive. Back home, that meant providing. Betty and I scrimped. No fancy dinners. Vacations were camping in the backyard. The kids got what they needed, not always what they wanted. My pension from the shop plus Social Security seemed like plenty. But flash forward to 80 and the money's there, but the silence isn't filled by dollar bills. Earl's story hits hard because he's me if I doubled down on saving without living. He was in finance after the war, always crunching numbers. Retired to Florida for the sun, but it's like he's in a cage of his own making. Last call, he mentioned trying online dating. Swiped right on a few, but they want adventure, Jack, and I'm just comfortable. Comfortable, but empty. His condo has all the gadgets, smart fridge, voice-activated lights, but no voices to fill the rooms. Tommy, though, he's the blueprint. After Korea, he bounced jobs, logger, trucker, finally a teacher. Savings? What savings? But he invested in people. Started a vets fishing club in the 70s, still going. Volunteers at schools, telling war stories to keep history alive. His daughter helps with bills sometimes, but Tommy's rich in ways Earl envies. Money buys bait, but friends catch the fish, he jokes. For me, the turning point was Betty's funeral. Kids were there, but after, the house echoed. I dipped into savings for a trip to Korea memorials in D.C., met old unit guys. That network saved me. So build yours early. Join Rotary, church groups, hobby clubs. At 50, it's easy. At 80, it's essential. Moving to the second reality, over-relying on kids. It's natural. We see ourselves in them. My eldest, Sarah, is a lawyer in L.A., smart as a whip, but busy with cases. Son Mike in New York, finance guy. Youngest, Tom, here in Austin, teacher like Tommy. They love me, send photos of grandkids, but emotional support? Sarah calls, but it's, Dad, gotta go, client on line 2. Mike's emails are quick. Tom visits more, but his wife's pregnant again. Life pulls. Hank's case is cautionary. Moved to Denver for his son, bought a house nearby, but son's divorced now. Custody fights, Hank's the babysitter, mediator, bank. It's wearing him thin. I thought family was the point, he said, but it's become his prison. Flip the script. After his wife died, he stayed in Phoenix, built a life. Daughters visit, but Gus has boundaries. Come for love, not duty, he tells them. His woodworking? Started as therapy, now a business. Sells at craft fairs, meets people. Kids are chapters, Jack. Life's the book. I learned to diversify. After Betty, I joined a grief group, met folks my age. We share, support. Kids are relieved, less pressure. If you're 60, foster independence in them, and it'll pay dividends. On to passions versus doctor visits. Health's important. I take my blood pressure meds, walk the property daily. But obsessing? No. Earl's routine, gym at 6 a.m., kale smoothies, specialist appointments. Gotta stay ahead, he says. But he's ahead of what? Life's passing him by. Tommy's fishing is legendary. We went once in '75, caught nothing, laughed everything. Now, with health issues, he adapts. Boat with rails, glucose monitor. Docks patch holes, passions fill 'em. My garage is my sanctuary. Fixing a '65 Mustang last month, grandson helped via Zoom. Skipped a dermatologist appointment for it. Skin's fine, soul's better. Find your passion. Dance, read, cook. It'll outlast any prescription. Saying no to dramas? Freedom. Family feuds are energy vampires. Hank's in the thick. Son's ex bad-mouthing, grandkids caught in crossfire. He referees, loses sleep. Gus says no gracefully. Praying for you, he tells daughters in arguments, then back to his lathe. I said no to Mike's investment scheme. Too risky. He pouted, but respect grew. No to Sarah's push for assisted living. I'm fine here. Say no. Protect your peace. Lastly, gut on end of life. Docs see charts. You see life. Earl's surgery? A stent for a blockage. Recovery? Brutal. Months in bed. Tommy declined hip surgery. Physical therapy instead. Still mobile. I refused a biopsy. Monitor instead. Feeling good. Trust your instinct. It's gotten you this far. But there's more to share. Lessons from the road, regrets I carry. Let's start with one regret, not traveling more when Betty was alive. We always said next year. Now I advise do it now. Another, holding grudges. Forgave a war buddy who owed money. Freed me. But let's dive deeper into each reality. For social networks, it's not just friends, it's purpose. Earl has money for clubs, but no heart for it. Tommy's volunteering gives back, gets back. I started a small vets podcast, Grandson Helps, connects me to younger folks. For kids, set boundaries early. I did with Tom. Love you, but handle your own messes. Passions. Try new ones. I took up guitar at 75. Bad, but fun. Saying no? Practice. Started with small things like no to junk mail calls. Gut decisions? Research, but ultimately, your call. Now, as I sit here, the sun setting over the Texas hills in a blaze of orange and pink, painting the mesquite trees like old soldiers standing at attention, I think about the regrets that still visit me on quiet evenings like this. Not the big ones you'd expect. No, I don't lie awake wishing I'd made more money or bought a bigger house. My regrets are smaller, quieter, and somehow heavier for it. They're the chances I didn't take, the words I didn't say, the moments I let slip because I was too busy planning for a tomorrow that turned out shorter than I thought. One of the biggest is travel. Betty and I always talked about it. When the kids are grown, we'd say. When the mortgage is paid off. When I retire. We had a map on the kitchen wall with little red pins for places we wanted to see. Yellowstone, the Grand Canyon, maybe even that Alaska cruise the TV ads kept pushing. But life kept happening. A new roof, college tuition, a transmission that went out on the old Ford. By the time the kids were gone and the house was ours free and clear, Betty's knees were bad, then her back, then the cancer came knocking. We never made it farther than San Antonio for a weekend. I still have that map, folded in a drawer. The pins are gone, but the dreams linger like smoke. So here's a piece of advice I wish someone had shaken me by the shoulders and forced into my thick skull at 50. Travel while you still can. Not fancy 5-star trips. Just go. Drive Route 66 in sections. Take the train across the Midwest. Fly to see your grandkids before they're too cool to hug you in public. Rent an RV and park by a lake for a week. Spend the money. The memories will keep you warmer in your 80s than any savings account ever could. Another regret? Holding grudges too long. There was a guy in my unit in Korea. Name was Ray Delgado from Albuquerque. Good man, funny as hell, could make you laugh even when the shells were falling. We got separated after Chosin lost touch for decades. Ran into him at a reunion in '98. Found out he'd borrowed $50 from me back in '53, emergency leave, promised to pay me back. Never did. $50 in 1953 was real money to a private. I carried that resentment like a pebble in my boot for 45 years. When we met again, I brought it up, half joking, half not. Ray looked ashamed, pulled out his wallet, tried to hand me $100. I waved it off, but the moment soured things. We stayed polite, but not close. He passed in 2019. I never got to tell him the $50 didn't matter. What mattered was the laughs, the shared foxhole, the way he sang Hank Williams off-key to keep us sane. Forgive sooner, son. Life's too short for pebbles in your boot. But let's get back to those 5 realities, because I've got more to say about each one, and stories that still need telling. Take that first one again. Retirement savings meaning little without social networks. I've seen it play out in ways that would break your heart. There's a widow I know through the VFW, name's Evelyn, lives in Tulsa. Her husband was an oil man, struck it rich in the '80s boom. Left her comfortable, very comfortable. House paid off, investments rolling, enough to never worry. She's 83 now, sharp as a tack, plays bridge 3 times a week. But bridge isn't friendship, it's competition with polite smiles. Evelyn told me last year, tears in her eyes, "Jack, I can buy anything I want, but I can't buy someone to call just to talk about the weather." Her kids are grateful for the trust funds, but they're busy building their own empires. She eats dinner alone most nights, in a dining room that seats 12. Then there's Luis, 87, down in San Antonio. Former truck driver, never made big money. Social Security and a small pension, that's it. Lives in a 1-bedroom apartment near the Riverwalk. But Luis, he's the mayor of his building. Organizes potlucks, fixes everyone's leaky faucets, leads a Bible study on Thursdays. His phone rings constantly. Someone needs a ride to the doctor. Someone's grandson is visiting and wants war stories. Luis laughs every time I see him. "I'm broke, Jack, but I'm rich in favors." That's the difference. One has money without meaning, the other has meaning without money. I started small after Betty passed, joined the local American Legion post. At first, I just sat in the corner, nursing a coffee, listening. Then I started telling stories, Korea, the shop, raising kids. Folks listened, asked questions. Next thing I knew, I was helping organize the Memorial Day picnic. Now I've got a circle wider than I ever had at 50. If you're watching this and you're still working, start now. Find your people. Church, bowling league, book club, whatever lights a spark, because at 80 plus, those people become your lifeline. Now about over-relying on your adult children, this one cuts deep because it's wrapped in love and guilt. We want to be needed and we need to be wanted. But there's a balance, and most of us tip too far one way. My friend Clarence in Oklahoma City learned this the hard way. Clarence is 85, raised 6 kids on a farmer's income. Every one of them successful, doctors, lawyers, engineers. He and his wife dotted on those grandkids something fierce. When his wife died 10 years ago, the kids circled the wagons. "Dad, move in with us. Dad, we'll take turns having you." Beautiful, right? Except Clarence became the family project. Schedules drawn up. Who has Dad this month? Who handles his meds? He lost autonomy, started feeling like a burden. Depression crept in. Finally, he put his foot down, moved into a small senior apartment. The kids were hurt at first. "We're trying to take care of you." But Clarence said, "I know you love me. Now let me live." He's happier now, visits on his terms, and the kids breathe easier too. Contrast that with Donna in Houston, 84. Donna never married, no kids. Everyone assumed she'd be lonely. Instead, she built a chosen family, nieces, neighbors, folks from her garden club. She travels with a group of widows every year. Last trip was to Branson for the shows. Her calendar's fuller than mine. Blood isn't always thicker when it comes to daily joy. My own kids, I love 'em fierce. Sarah's got that big city drive, Mike's always chasing the next deal, Tom's teaching high school history and coaching football. They're good people, but I stopped expecting them to fill Betty's shoes. Now when we talk, it's lighter. I tell them about the Mustang I'm restoring. They tell me about the grandkids' soccer games. No guilt trips, no you never visit sighs. It's better for all of us. Here's the hard truth. Your children's primary job stopped being take care of mom/dad the day they turned 18. Their primary job now is their own lives. Love them enough to let them live it. Third reality, pursuing passions over endless doctor visits. I can't stress this enough. I've got a buddy named Walt in Colorado Springs, 86 years young. Former pilot, flew C-130s in Vietnam. Retired with bad hips, hearing loss, the works. Doctors wanted him in for this scan, that adjustment. Walt went along for a while, then said enough. He bought himself a little ultralight plane, legal for sport pilots with restrictions. Still flies on clear days. Doctors threw a fit. Irresponsible. His kids worried. Walt's answer? I've cheated death since 1968. I'll keep cheating it my way. He glows when he talks about being up there. Clouds below, earth a patchwork quilt. Says it reminds him he's still alive. Me, I'm no pilot, but the garage is my cockpit. There's something about the smell of oil, the precision of a torque wrench, the satisfaction when an engine turns over after sitting silent for decades. I restored a '57 Chevy last year for a neighbor's son, kids getting it for graduation. The look on that boy's face, better than any cholesterol number. Don't get me wrong. See your doctor, take your meds, but don't let health become your whole identity. Find the thing that makes your heart race a little, even if it's just planting tomatoes or painting watercolors. Do it messy. Do it badly if you have to. Just do it. Fourth, saying no to family dramas. This one's freedom in a bottle. My sister Lorraine, God rest her, was a master worrier. Every holiday, every birthday, she'd stir up some pot. Who got slighted, who spent more on gifts, ancient history from 1972. I used to wade in, try to calm waters, wasted years. After Betty passed, I stopped. Told Lorraine, I love you, but I'm sitting this one out. She was mad for a while, then she mellowed. We actually started enjoying each other's company without the drama backdrop.
Learn to say, that's between you and them, and mean it. Your peace is worth more than being the family referee. Fifth, trusting your gut on end-of-life decisions. I've watched good men diminished by treatments that promised a few more years, but delivered only a few more months of suffering. My neighbor, Bill, 82 when they found prostate cancer. Doctor pushed aggressive radiation. Bill went through it, lost weight, lost energy, lost joy. Died anyway, 18 months later, a shadow of himself. His wife told me privately, I wish we'd chosen hospice sooner. We'd have had picnics instead of hospital rooms. Then there's Martha in Dallas, 88, same diagnosis years ago. She chose active surveillance, still gardening, still driving to bingo. If it's my time, she says. I'm not trading good days for bad ones. I faced my own moment 2 years back, spot on my lung. Doctor wanted biopsy, possible surgery, chemo if it spread. I asked, how do I feel today? Fine, he admitted. I said, then let's watch it. Repeat scans every 6 months. Still here, still breathing Texas air. Might get me tomorrow, might not, but today's mine. Trust the wisdom your body's accumulated over 8 decades. It knows. There's more I need to tell you about money, about being a little selfish, about what really matters when the clock's winding down. But the sun's gone now, and the crickets are starting their nightly chorus. My old dog Max, just a mutt from the shelter, is snoring at my feet. These evenings are precious, so I'll pause here, let you sit with what I've said so far. If any of this rings true, leave a comment. Tell me, what's one thing you're going to do different tomorrow because of what you heard today? I read every one. Makes this old house feel a little less empty. We'll pick up right here next time. There's still truths to uncover, stories to tell, and time, well, we've got today. Let's not waste it.